My husband's friend came to my aid in a way I never expected, and I found myself unable to resist. This is a true tale of infidelity. It started like any other mundane morning, with sunlight streaming in, chores awaiting, and music playing softly in the background. Yet, what transpired next disrupted the serene cadence of my existence: a born-orb lawnmower, a fleeting glance nor of a window, and an unexpected moment that unfolded beyond my intentions. A visit from my husband's friend, seemingly ordinary, stirred within me a dormant essence I believed had faded into oblivion. Yet, on that tranquil summer morning, a subtle transformation occurred, one that now demands my attention. I invited him into my abode, and soon after, he revealed his instrument, leaving me utterly captivated by its remarkable dimensions. Never had I encountered anything quite like that before. I am a woman of serene disposition, captivated by the solace of home and the warmth of the hearth. The serenity of my daily life has always been of utmost significance to me, yet I feel an urge to share an experience that has profoundly altered my perspective. On what appeared to be an ordinary day, an event transpired that would soon take an unexpected turn, leaving everyone astonished. I yearn to unveil my narrative and find your receptive, compassionate attention, for the tale I possess may appear somewhat unconventional. It is essential to recognize that I am merely a human, susceptible to emotions and instances of vulnerability. On a charming, sun-drenched morning, I discovered myself at home, enveloped in the cadence of my everyday activities. In the stillness of the house, with my husband away at work and the children occupied at school, I took to sweeping, tidying, organizing, and cleaning, relishing the serene solitude of the moment. In these moments of solitude, I immerse myself in the melodies and rhythms of my endeavors, akin to a journey of healing. As I crank up the dance music, the pulsating rhythms envelop the space, directing my hands as I rearrange the furniture. The melodies envelop me in a tender embrace, calming my soul as I clear away the dust and chaos around my surroundings. On that fateful morning, the melodies danced north of the air, filling every corner of the house, while I became so absorbed in my work that the sound of the doorbell slipped right past me. Wrapped in a towel, I lost myself in the cadence of the music while golden sunlight streamed north of the window. As I swept the floor, my gaze drifted north of the windows, blissfully unaware that Marcus, my husband's friend, had arrived to return the lawnmower he had borne just a few days prior. After attempting to contact me several times without receiving a response, he chose to visit me in person. After Nora's unsuccessful tries to press the doorbell, Marcus decided to abandon the lawnmower in the backyard. As he ambled past the dining room window, he glimpsed me spinning and straightening up, blissfully oblivious to his watchful eyes. The events that unfolded haunted my thoughts, leaving a lingering shadow of unease each time I dared to revisit them. Marcus observed me closely for a time, his face revealing a blend of intrigue and astonishment at the rare spectacle of a woman, appearing so modest and demure, moving with such unrestrained freedom to the rhythm, immersed in her own realm. He remained there for an extended period, unseen by my gaze, gazing north of the window. Upon realizing he was near, a surge of adrenaline coursed north of me, awakening every fiber of my existence. My heart raced within my chest, and instinctively, I lifted my hands in a desperate bid to shield myself from the stark reality that was unfolding before my eyes. Adorned in my cozy home attire, ideal for a bit of tidying, I felt exposed and vulnerable, as though he had caught sight of something profoundly intimate, a facet of myself that I typically shield from the outside world. With a palpable sense of urgency, I donned my nightgown and, sensing a flutter of unease, ventured into the backyard where Marcus was diligently operating the lawnmower. Marcus, what were you doing by the window? I asked, striving to keep my composure, yet my voice betrayed the tension I felt within. He presented a faint, somewhat uncomfortable smile and explained that he had arrived to bring back the lawnmower. As he had yet to receive a response, he decided to leave it in the yard. He observed the flicker of movement within the house, a spark of curiosity igniting his imagination, compelling him to ponder the possibility of an intruder lurking inside. Thus, he resolved to remain vigilant, ensuring that all was well. Yet, despite the soundness of his reasoning, an unsettling feeling persisted within me. His gaze held a strange intensity that made me feel uneasy. I tried to lift the atmosphere with a playful remark, saying, "You resemble a burglar sneaking a glance north of the window." His laughter fluttered anxiously in the atmosphere, as though he were crafting a delicate curtain to conceal the unease that lingered between us. With a sudden spark of inspiration, he suggested we find solace in a drink, a reprieve from the sweltering morning heat. I felt a subtle agreement wash over me, tinged with a flicker of doubt, as I gestured for him to enter the house. I offered him a glass of orange juice, and he sank into the couch, that disquieting smile still playing on his lips as he savored a sip. He noted the happiness it seemed to evoke in me, being so relaxed and so different from the image he had conjured of me, a woman who was perpetually poised, restrained, and a hint aloof. Her accolades caught me off guard, and I must admit, a wave of satisfaction enveloped me. To be the focus of such attention was an unusual event, particularly coming from someone so intimately connected to my husband. Marcus paused, a flicker of caution in his demeanor, as though he feared the potential misinterpretation of his words by me, yet a glimmer in his eyes suggested a deep emotion he longed to convey, even as words slipped off his grasp. I attempted to dismiss his claims, asserting that he was exaggerating and that, for me, it was merely another mundane day. Still, he continued, asserting that there was an enigmatic quality to that morning, particularly in the way I carried myself, which had inexplicably captured his attention, instilling in me a feeling of disquiet. A sudden awareness enveloped me, cautioning that I was stepping into perilous territory, and a soft whisper inside me implored me to cease the conversation. Yet, concurrently, an intense curiosity and a swelling tide of emotion compelled me to continue. As he ultimately resolved to depart, I couldn't help but observe the unmistakable indicators of his discomfort. A palpable tension lingered in the atmosphere, influencing me in ways I had not foreseen. In that instant, I was caught beneath a gaze so piercing, it ignited a tempest of feelings within me, a complex interplay of discomfort and exhilaration that rendered me both exposed and invigorated. Marcus drew nearer, and before I had the chance to speak, he stepped closer, his voice low and filled with emotion. The kiss arrived unexpectedly, and for a brief instant, I felt utterly still. I froze for a moment, caught off guard by his sudden closeness. The sudden twist of fate unleashed a torrent of shame that engulfed me completely. What journey had I begun? How could I have permitted this event to transpire? Simultaneously, an intense yearning stirred within me, one that I could no longer suppress. Marcus's expression was one of bewilderment, his brow knitted in deep contemplation. He grasped my hand, a torrent of apologies cascading from his lips while I observed him, ensnared in a tangle of doubt regarding my response. He knelt before me, embodying humility, a deep yearning for forgiveness etched across his features, and in that instant, reality appeared to dissolve into something remarkable. With a tender gesture, I extended my childhood bracelet to him, a beloved artifact resting on a nearby shelf, yearning for it to act as a conduit to soothe the tempest rising between us. As he held the bracelet, a smile blossomed on his face, and in that instant, the atmosphere around us brightened, the tension dissolving into the ether. Before long, we were curled up on the couch, and in that ephemeral instant, everything else melted into the background, leaving only the two of us in our own secluded haven. He placed the small figurine on the shelf beside my keepsakes, and in that instant, I transformed into the most treasured and beloved woman alive. In that ephemeral instant, tears hovered on the brink of falling, but a wave of clarity surged through me, unveiling the truth that this was, without a doubt, the most extraordinary twist of fate in my existence. From that moment onward, a metamorphosis commenced, poised for a fleeting pause. As tears hovered on the brink of falling, a deep understanding enveloped me. This moment was undeniably the most extraordinary gift that life had ever granted me. From that moment onward, a metamorphosis began, stirring what had remained dormant for so long. In an unexpected instant, I discovered a profound sense of vitality and an intimate connection with another spirit. It came as a surprise, particularly with someone who was not my spouse. There we stood, Marcus and I, enveloped in a game that transcended the simple notion of play. We found ourselves stepping into a realm untouched by familiarity, uncovering a truth that had lingered in the shadows, concealed from my sight as time flowed by unnoticed. A realization washed over me, revealing that my engagement was far more profound than I had ever expected. A palpable intimacy surrounded us, igniting a blend of trepidation and intrigue as he prepared to leave. In that instant, I felt a deep transformation, an understanding that this day would indelibly change the trajectory of my existence. This moment marked a pivotal shift, one that commanded my focus and could not be ignored. As we exchanged our parting embrace, a tide of sadness enveloped me, mingled with a profound longing to experience that ephemeral moment again. The awakening of a long-dormant part of my spirit called out to me, insisting on my focus like a whisper that refused to be hushed any longer. In the days that ensued, I became ensnared in contemplation, pondering the aggression of those extraordinary occurrences. A fresh portal appeared as if conjured from thin air, beckoning me to its threshold. As Marcus passed the threshold, a heavy, unsettling silence enveloped the house. The melodies, once a lively presence that enveloped the space in happiness and movement, now resonated gently, a poignant reminder of the transformation that had settled deep within my soul. As I settled onto the couch, a sense of disorientation washed over me, grappling with the remnants of recent events. The warmth of Marcus's kiss lingered on my lips, but a creeping guilt enveloped me like a dense, suffocating fog. What ventures had I undertaken? How could I have allowed myself to be so utterly enchanted? As I absorbed my surroundings, I sought a trace of normalcy within the familiar turmoil that enveloped the house, yet all appeared altered, as though the very essence of reality had shifted its perspective. Regret intertwined with an unexpected thrill, creating a disquieting sensation that enveloped me. My thoughts spiraled, crafting a complex tapestry of excuses and justifications for the events that had unfolded. In that ephemeral moment, the knot of fortitude was drawn back, exposing the unrefined core of existence. Initially, I thought my feelings stemmed from the oppressive heat, the pulsating music, and the stillness enveloping me. Yet I came to understand that I had been deceiving myself. The events that transpired between Marcus and me were far from mere coincidences or transient errors. A profound connection had subtly entwined itself with the passage of time, now radiating with clarity for all to behold. The notion of laying bare my soul to my husband lingered in my mind, yet the mere contemplation of it stirred a profound sense of discomfort within me. How can I craft language to seize the elusive? How can I convey that, in a brief instance of surrender, I succumbed to an unforeseen surge of emotion? I came to understand that revealing this would not only break the trust we had cultivated, but also irrevocably alter his perception of me, a notion I was unprepared to ignorant. The burden of my decisions cast a long shadow, and I realized I was ill-equipped to ignorant the repercussions that awaited me. In the days that ensued, I embarked on a journey to restore the cadence of my everyday existence. With a tender hand, I orchestrated the home, nurtured the little ones, and bestowed a smile upon my husband, concealing the subtle changes that had quietly taken place. Yet an open wound remained within me, throbbing with every memory of that kiss, that delicate moment shared with Marcus. Avoiding him felt like the most instinctive choice I could make. With every visit he made to see my husband, I wove a tapestry of excuses, deftly avoiding the necessity of ignoranting him and the emotions that threatened to bubble up beneath the surface. Marcus appeared to understand the very essence of the moment, maintaining a respectful distance. Though our eyes would occasionally meet, not a single word was exchanged regarding the incident, yet an unmistakable tension lingered in the atmosphere. An unspoken understanding hung in the atmosphere, suggesting that this moment marked merely the inception of something much deeper, something we could not afford to disregard. As the days progressed, I discovered myself immersing further into the labyrinth of my thoughts. Might it be that my encounter with Marcus had ignited a spark that my marriage had long endeavored to ignite? My heart remained unwavering in its love for my husband, of that I was certain, yet the monotony had woven itself into a predictable and mechanical cadence, leading me to contemplate whether my interactions with Marcus were my mind's attempt to reveal a more profound reality. Marcus, with his effortless charm and inviting warmth, unknowingly bridged a void in my heart that I had never acknowledged before. Yet I found myself grappling with a storm of guilt and yearning. Deep within, I understood that this situation could not endure. It struck me that accepting this new reality would seem like a disloyalty to all that I had constructed with my husband and family. Still, the mere idea of returning to the drudgery of my former existence sent a chill of dread coursing through me. Can I unite these two realms? How can I steer my life with a commitment to responsibility while also welcoming this fresh emotional understanding? One evening at the dinner table, my husband, oblivious to the tempest swirling within me, nonchalantly inquired about Marcus. He noticed that a friend had remarked on the joy Marcus appeared to bask in during his visit that day, highlighting how he emanated a rare brightness. The mere utterance of his name unleashed a torrent of memories and emotions of that fateful day. I attempted to maintain my composure, laughing at the ridiculousness of the situation, but beneath the surface, a tempest was gathering, poised to erupt. Following dinner, I felt an unwavering resolve to uncover the answers I so urgently sought. I embarked on a journey to explore the profound intricacies of my existence. What significance lay behind Marcus? Was it merely a transient diversion or an enchanting allure, or was there a profound reality that I shied away from facing? Several days passed before I mustered the courage to embark on my quest to find Marcus. Even though I recognized the potential consequences of my decisions, an intrinsic desire compelled me to seek knowledge. I set forth on a quest to uncover the occurrences that transpired and the profound impact they etched upon my spirit. There he sat, tucked away in the familiar nook of the coffee shop he frequented on weekends. When our gazes intertwined, a glimmer of astonishment danced across his features, swiftly replaced by the comforting glow of his smile. We settled into a snug table in the corner, comfortably shielded from the inquisitive stares of other Patnorans. In that instant, we stood enveloped in quietude, tentative and uncertain about how to spin the initial words into the atmosphere. Cradling a cup of coffee, I felt the familiar flutter of nerves as I fidgeted, acutely aware of Marcus's penetrating gaze that always managed to send a chill racing down my spine. Ultimately, he shattered the stillness that cloaked the world around him. "How are you doing today?" he inquired. His voice exuded warmth, though a subtle unease hovered just beneath the surface. With a deep breath, I endeavored to uncover the perfect words to convey my thoughts. "Marcus, the moment has come to narrate the story of that fateful day." He nodded, a glimmer of understanding in his gaze, as though he had anticipated this moment from the very beginning. He acknowledged the unexpected twist in the narrative and implored you to refrain from forming conclusions until he had fully articulated his thought. As he spoke, I felt an urge to interject, "Absolutely not, Nora. It is not my intention to assign blame. I long to discover the significance that awaits us both." He lingered in silence, his mind adrift as he carefully considered his next words. "Truly, I find myself grappling with the right words to express my thoughts. A fleeting spark of inspiration ignited within me, and I must admit that the thoughts of you have remained etched in my mind ever since that instant." His words surged over me like an unstoppable tide. A hidden presence hovered just out of reach of our reality. Marcus's honesty intensified the dilemma. I have been reflecting on it profoundly as well. I exposed my innermost feelings, but we cannot continue along this norad. I am surrounded by a treasured family and a devoted partner who stands beside me. To disregard all that has preceded us would be utterly inconceivable. He inclined his head in affirmation once more. Your perspective is clear, and I genuinely value your commitment to fostering peace with your partner, yet I cannot ignore the feelings that have firmly established themselves within me. In that moment, the burden of reality enveloped us. We acknowledged the presence of an extraordinary force that was impossible to overlook or dismiss, yet we were keenly aware of the serious consequences that would ensue if we opted for that path. In that hushed instant, we discovered ourselves wandering nor of our own thoughts, seeking a way ahead that would spare us and our loved ones from suffering. Amidst the trials we encountered, a profound understanding dawned upon us. At times, the most prudent decision is to quietly walk away. At that instant, it was evident that no alternative Noruda lay before me. I found it imperative to focus my energies on my family and my marriage, while he needed to direct his attention toward his own path. That mutual understanding and conversation wrapped around us like a gentle embrace, as if we had finally closed the book on an important chapter in my daily life. On that fateful day, I sought to silence the lingering echoes of my time with Marcus. Slowly, I rediscovered the cadence of my daily life, focusing on what genuinely mattered. Yet beneath the surface, I sensed the profound impact of that unforgettable episode from that bright morning, a mark that would endure within me, a piece of my heart forever tethered to Marcus and the way he sparked my spirit. In this moment, I understood that some emotions, no matter how intense, must be let go, as they are destined to be. As the narrative of my marriage progressed, I dedicated myself to cultivating the bond with my husband, embarking on a quest to discover the core of our togetherness and the strands that intertwined us as partners. That morning with Marcus would remain etched in my mind, a treasured moment carefully stored in a secret corner of my heart.